Hi there, Taurus. How are you? It's me, Anissa from theinnerstereo, and I'm back again doing your October 2018 reading. So as usual, guys, I'm going to be covering your relationship sector, and you can always apply this with any who. It could be with your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, exes, crushes, family member, mother, colleagues, anyone. I'm basically just going to pick up your relationship energy in general, okay? So don't forget to also check your sun, moon, or Venus sign, because I tend to realize that with my readings, I resonate much more with my Venus sign rather than my sun sign. Okay. So how are you guys doing right now? Taurus, I'm going to be reading your energy in general first, and then I'm going to be reading your challenges. And then after that, we're going to be seeing it your past, present, and future, okay? So right now, you have the Seven of Swords in reverse in here. I feel like there's like a little bit of kind of like a hidden truth that you've been kind of like kept all along, and you're trying to kind of like come clean about it. And I'm not saying that it's going to be something that is really, really bad, real bad, Michael Jackson, no, but it's just something like you're going to kind of like admit about something. You're going to be kind of like come clean, or you kind of like want to lower down your weapon and talk things through. But also at the same time, you also have the Chariot card in reverse. I feel like the reason why you're kind of like behaving this way, it's because you kind of like felt like there's nothing else to lose in here. Okay, you just want to focus much more on your stabilities, and you guys are kind of like seeing in the now that the destination that you're going with, the direction that you're kind of like aiming in the past is no longer as interesting as it was, you know, in the now. So right now you're just going to kind of like want to come clean and just want to lower down your weapon, and you guys just want to focus much more on your pentacles. You just want to focus much more on your coins. And with the King of Pentacles in here, it also talks about your needs to be grounded. You know, you just want to be grounded. You just want someone who is as reliable as you guys are, as dependable as you guys are. Look at the challenge. Okay, so what's challenging you? The first one, you have the Two of Wands. In this particular deck of mine, the Two of Wands kind of like emphasize about, you know, you and the other person kind of like collaborating and working together from scratch so that, you know, you could build something out of it. And I feel like with this in your challenges, you kind of like sense that there is no like two people working together. You know what I mean? So it's still very much of a challenge for you. I feel like if you still want the relationship to kind of like continue, you need to kind of like sit down together and talk things through, like, you know, where are we going to take this relationship to? And because you guys are the King of Pentacles right now, you know, you are much more grounded and you guys are much more practical than they are. So you could be the one who's kind of like calling the shots. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. If you guys have been in like a long-term commitment, you guys kind of like might want to advise to spice things up just a little bit so that things just don't go boring and monotone and everything like that. So yeah, there's no sense of two people. And you're also doing with the Knight of Chalices. The Knight of Chalices is a serial charmer. Someone who is very, very youthful, and it's not age specific, but this person is much more of a charmer, and it's something that you really, really don't like in here because you felt like you now want a relationship that is very, very mature, and it just kind of like bugs you how they are kind of like quite charming or quite flirtatious with the other sex. It makes you kind of like felt threatened by it. With the Nine of Cups in here as your overall challenge, it also talks about broken promises or something that has been postponed, and it kind of like bothers you a lot too. So what was going on in the future? I feel like this person kind of like, you know, they do feel the nostalgia with you, you know. They do feel the nostalgia with you. They kind of like do feel like this is a relationship that is either a twin flame or a karmic or a soulmate relationship, but it's just something that they feel a connection deep down inside. They do have fantasized a lot about the future together with you. All the sweet memories kind of like come rushing back in them. And I feel like with the Six of Cups in here, it also kind of like emphasizes that they are remembering about the sweet memories of the past rather than the bad memories of the past. You know what I mean? But I feel like with the Four of Pentacles in here, they're not really showing that to you. They're not really showing this much to you. Like, they do feel the connection. They feel very, very loving towards you, but they don't show them to you. it's like they're kind of like protecting their heart chakra in here by doing that. So, and with the Four of Pentacles, like, I mean, like, I don't really like the Four of Pentacles in this particular deck of mine because it just looks like so sneaky. But sometimes, you know, this could also talks about someone who doesn't feel emotionally secure with you yet. Okay, if someone doesn't feel emotionally secure with you, they would have difficulties when it comes to wording out their emotions. You have the King of Swords in reverse in here, so you guys are super cool with them. I feel like because they're showing you this Four of Pentacles by them being very, very stingy with their attention, with their affections, trying not to confront their emotions, always talks in the surface and everything like that. It kind of makes you very, very snappy with the King of Swords in here in reverse. So you guys are already seeing them in a certain point of perspective, you know what I mean? And I feel like there was kind of like quite few communications that were coming in and out. That's just making you even more cerebral, even more distance and detaching yourself away from them. You have the Empress in here, so it's like two people feeling the same, but what you're showing to one another is different. You know what I mean? I mean, like with this person, you do have the Empress card, so you actually want to be the center of their universe. You want to procreate with them. You do feel the connection as well, but because they're showing you this Four of Pentacles attitude, kind of like sneaky and just talks in the surface, it kind of like robs you off in a wrong way, especially since you're kind of like getting an information, I feel like in the past, that was kind of like shocked you in some ways. You didn't see it coming. I mean, look at this one. You didn't see it coming, and it just kind of like makes you shocked in some ways. I feel like the communication is not really healthy in here. It's either they're not able to kind of like word out their feelings and how they truly feel, their concerns and everything, or it's just that, yeah, I feel like the communication isn't really healthy in here, Taurus. Interesting. You could be dealing with two people too, though, in the past. I mean, the first person who was kind of like is acting like a little bit sneaky with you, you kind of like completely cut them off. And with the other person who is very, very sweet and lovey-dovey and who felt that connection with you, you actually want to build something with them. And in the now, I feel like both of you are actually in the same vibe, you know, with the King of Cups and with the Princess of Cups. There's like a lot of Neptunian quality when it comes to you. Be careful. Okay? Be careful a little bit. Have the Moon card in reverse. I feel like, you know, in the past, you guys are kind of like still wondering where you stand in this person's life, and you're still, you know, there's like a lot of things that makes you curious and makes you questions about the truth of the matter and everything like that, right? It was actually kind of like a call for you to get in touch with your intuitions and so on and so forth. But now, though, you know, you're kind of like coming out of that period, and now you felt very, very Neptunian in here with this Princess of Cups, if you're dealing with one person. Okay, so there's like a new fresh start that is going to, if it's not happening now, it's going to happen like really, really soon until the 15th of October. But it's kind of like a fresh new start that builds you together. And this person is now much more stable. I mean, in the future, this person was doing some sneaky, sneaky stuff. This person is not extending as much as they wanted to, because they don't feel kind of like emotionally secure with you. But if you're only dealing with one person, this person is actually going to do that. I mean, emotionally, they feel kind of like quite stable in the now. They kind of feel quite stable in the now. So it's really like a really new, fresh start. But please don't get too all excited, all in your head, Taurus. I mean, you have the Princess of Cups. The Princess of Cups in this particular deck of mine is a very, very Neptunian quality Princess of Cups, meaning you kind of like live in your head more than in the real world. Whereas this person actually wants to live in the real world right now. So if you want to make this relationship work, you can actually work this out together with him. I mean, this person is very, very steady and stable. They're not going to be the one who's going to be calling the shots. So it's going to be you who needs to call the shots. Okay? it's not gender specific. It's not really gender specific, but because this person embodies the a masculine energy, in order to make this relationship work, you need to become like more of the feminine energy, more of like a supportive partner, you know, because you need to call the shots, but don't do it like very, very obviously, because they don't like to be bossed around in the now, because they have this masculine energy. So kind of like do it a little bit of a subliminally. What is it that you want? Try to kind of like be a little bit persuasive, diplomatic, try to kind of like steal some Libra diplomatic abilities, you know, so that you can actually make this relationship work if you want to. I mean, love is clearly in the air though. Holy goddamn, what the hell? I shouldn't be talking that fast, right? Okay, at the bottom of your deck, you have the Four of Swords in here and the Three of Wands. So, right. So if you're dealing with two people, one person is from the past, one person is from the now person, be careful, because the past person who is being very, very sneaky on you will want to have the upper hand and could probably would want to expose you. That will make the person that you have been daydreaming about, have been fantasizing about, hurt and disappointed in you. It kind of like will turn them off. So be careful if you're dealing with two people. They could expose you. Like there is like this tendency of someone exposing someone in here, wanting to always have the upper hand. And when this happens, you guys have the Magician card in reverse. It's just going to make you kind of like, you want to reconcile with them, you want to collaborate with them, but you lose your creative ideas about how to actually make this relationship work, because there's no shedding of the old skin that needs to happen in the past, but it hasn't happened yet. Okay, so that's if you're dealing with two people. I'm going to see if you're dealing with one person, what actually causes this. What is this Three of Cups in here for? Yeah, goddamn. Right. I mean, if you really want to make this relationship work, it kind of like sounds like Sagittarius reading, like the clock is ticking, because if you want it to happen, like you need to kind of like work on it now, because this person will kind of like feel like a little bit neglected. And there's this sense of spite in here that I feel, like vengeful ways, sneaky ways. I mean, they cannot really let go of the dark shadow that they have, the shadow side that they have. So it's still there. And once you kind of like hurt them in some ways, they're going to be kind of like quite spiteful towards you. And they're going to think that, you know, being charming with other people or kind of like boast about their relationship with other sex just to hurt you is okay. You know what I mean? So I don't really like this energy. So be careful about that, okay, Taurus? Just be careful about that. So if you actually want to work things out with them, kind of like make it in and now. You have the Three of Pentacles. So actually, yeah, both of you wants to make this relationship work. But because communication is not doing so well, this is at play. Them showing clearly their shadow side. I'm not saying that they're a bad person, but everyone has a shadow side. So yeah, this happens. So be careful about that. Try to kind of like work things out and fix the communication problems in the now, rather than, you know, like making this worse than it was in the past. Because I don't like their needs to always have the upper hand and try to hurt you in some ways because they felt like they've been hurt. Okay, be careful of a vengeful person in your life. By the end of 15th of October 2018, I feel like you guys are going to be like having this Four of Swords attitude. You are just going to like not think much about it because it's been kind of like quite a hurtful experience for you. It's been quite a hurtful experience for you, but you will have the tendency to kind of like look back a little bit. But yeah, try to fix up the communication. It's actually very, very fixable if you want to, because it's like two people wanting the same thing, but either you or either them have a difficulties when it comes to becoming emotionally vulnerable to actually have the heart-to-heart talk so that this relationship can work. Okay, so try to work on that communications, all right? So I think that's it for my reading for you guys. I'll see you guys in a few days for your bi-weekly. Bye-bye.